I'm Bill Gibbons. I'm the Associate Director for Research in the College of Ag, Food and Environmental Sciences, and also the Director of the South Dakota Agricultural Experiment Station. My research as a faculty member was focused on industrial microbiology. I was very fortunate when I was a graduate student and early in my career to work on the ethanol fuel project, and South Dakota actually developed the dry mill ethanol industry in South Dakota. Throughout my years as a researcher, I developed additional types of products using microorganisms to convert biomass and crop residues into high-value products. In fact, we're standing about 2 miles away from the last project that I had a major influence in, which was converting soybean meal into a fish meal replacement. And maybe later on you can pan the camera over and we'll take a look at the facility that's in the background that next to the South Dakota soybean processors plant. A company called Prairie Aquatech is now using fungi to convert plant-based soybean meal into a fish meal replacement. A typical day for me is quite variable, which is really very enjoyable. No 2 days are alike. Probably a lot of people are fortunate enough to have that as their situation, but I interact with researchers trying to identify and help them fill their needs so that the research programs can be more successful. Interact with industry and farmers in terms of helping them take their needs and finding solutions to their needs, whether it's in a new technology or an adaptation or acclimation of our current technologies to their fields of study. You know, interacting with students to a certain extent. I'm still involved in some graduate committees of graduate students and actually have continued my research activities, so I try to keep involved in that as well. Well, I've been here since, as a student, 1976. I started SDSU as a bachelor's student in biology and microbiology in 1976 and played basketball for the Jacks. During that time, I was able to also work on the ethanol fuel project, got my graduate degrees, was fortunate to stay at SDSU as a faculty member in the microbiology and then the biology microbiology department, and now for the past 5 years have been in the agricultural experiment station and serving as associate dean for research in the college. Well, I think, you know, as I said, I was really fortunate as a grad student to have the very first project be one that really helped pull agriculture out of the farm crisis of the late 1970s and 1980s. That was the ethanol industry. You know, I played a very small role, but played a role in it nonetheless. Very proud of that. And of course now, roughly a third to a half of the corn in South Dakota is converted into ethanol. It's reduced our need for foreign oil. In fact, the United States is now a net energy exporter as opposed to being a primary importer as we were back in the late 70s and early 80s. You know, one of the other impacts I think I've had is on students and graduate students. I've been very fortunate to work with a number of students throughout the year that have gone on to lead very productive careers. And in fact, one of my first graduate students is now the Dean of the College of Natural Sciences at SDSU. So she came back home and is serving in that leadership role at SDSU, Charlene Wolf Hall. And then, of course, a third at the end of my career was the development of this patented technology to convert soybean meal into a high-protein fish meal replacer. And we have the first facility in the nation, in the world actually, located in Volga, right next to the Volga soybean plant.